Hello everyone, I'm Morali and welcome to the channel. Today I would like to talk to you guys some more about Freelancer. Last year we did a playthrough of the original game on stream and I talked a little bit about one of the big mods for the game named Discovery. I ended up making a review video that was okay, it wasn't very good and it really wasn't supposed to be a proper review but more of a final impression after having played through it with you guys. Recently a lot of people have not only been watching that review but also been commenting on Freelancer and the mods for it, as well as discussing Star Citizen, which seems to keep being very disappointing to people with the way that the development is being handled. So I have decided to go back and do a proper review of the game, and originally I wanted to also talk about the bigger mods for the game, but once I loaded some of them up I quickly realized that these really need to have a video of their own, since these are much more than just simple overhauls of the graphics. These mods have a ton of new features and things to talk about, so I will be making dedicated videos for those. Stay tuned for more. As we get into this review, there will of course be heavy spoilers for the story, so just giving a heads up beforehand. With that being said, let's get right into it. Freelancer is a space trading and combat simulation game developed by Digital Anvil and published by Microsoft Game Studios in 2003. It is a chronological sequel to Digital Anvil's Starlancer, a combat flight simulator released in 2000. In the game, players take on the roles of spacecraft pilots. These characters fly single-seater ships, exploring the planets and space stations of 48 known star systems. They also engage in dogfights with other pilots to protect traders or engage in piracy themselves. Other player activities include bounty hunting and commodity trading. The story of Freelancer is pretty straightforward. You're a freelancer, surprise surprise, named Edison Trend in the intergalactic world of the Sirius sector, and one day you get hired by the local police to help with some rogues and discover that there is something very fishy going on that seems to extend into not just the police but the military and government as well. From there you start to uncover this alien threat that was left behind by some long-gone alien species, and end up neutralizing these nomads by activating an ancient wormhole that sends them across the galaxy. That's pretty much the short version of the plot. Of course there's much more to it, and I have to say I actually enjoy the story of Freelancer very much. As you follow the story through the Sirius sector, you end up meeting a bunch of pretty great characters, and most of them seem to fill their roles fairly well. The voice acting is also pretty outstanding, especially for a game that came out in 2003, and by the end of it, it feels like you're playing out some awesome action movie in space. The finale is pretty satisfying and really leaves you to wonder what could be next, which I think speaks to its strengths. Now, the more disappointing thing about the story is that we do not get anything after the ending. We do not get any hints of what happened to the nomads or the aliens that inhabited this area before humans came, and there's also not much in the form of post-game that is new or something that you haven't been able to do before. That is where the mods come in, and like I said, those will have their own videos. Freelancer features 48 breathtaking star systems across 7 different regions, each with their own economies, starship designs, and beautiful scenery. It has 31 pilotable ships ranging from light fighters to heavy fighters and freighters. Dozens of weapon types, shields, and tools you can equip to your ship. A fully voice-acted story with several cutscenes. Fully voiced overworld with seemingly hundreds of lines of dialogue that will make every journey into space feel unique. These include things like artifact smugglers looking to steal goods from the player, or simply things like docking requests for planets and stations. A range of side missions can be undertaken, ranging from bounty hunting to destroying enemy bases and much more. Deep lore with readable news reports on all the different organizations and governments operating in each region, as well as in-depth item descriptions for every single item in the game. Increase your level by acquiring more wealth in a true-to-form freelancer way. This can include things like becoming an upstanding freelancer by helping the different governments around the regions, partake in dogfights around disrupted trade lanes to help defend convoys and traveling merchants, or help defend outposts under attack by enemy forces. Become a trader by buying and selling various goods across different regions to increase your wealth. Become a miner by finding mineable debris fields and sell your goods at high-priced markets. Become an outlaw by siding with the pirates and scoundrels of the Sirius sector, or simply explore the breathtaking world of Freelancer by traveling around through open space, nebulas, asteroid fields, radiation fields, minefields, and toxic gas clouds. Find hidden areas and bases, as well as abandoned shipwrecks. There is a ton of different things to do in this game. As I have mentioned before, Each star system is very beautiful, and every time you journey through a portal or jump gate to another system, you never know what to expect, but you will usually end up being impressed by how vast and unique each system feels, which just adds to the immersion of the game. Each planet you can land on has its own little world on it and helps distinguish its own culture by having different structures and people. Each region of the world has their own soundtrack too, which is fitting with their culture. Space stations are also places you can visit and look much smaller on the outside. Once you enter, a lot of them are much larger on the inside, which adds to making the world feel even bigger. I think Freelancer does a very good job of portraying this vast intergalactic world out in space, even with the technical limitations they had 20 years ago. For people that know Freelancer, most of them will agree that it was way ahead of its time. The graphics hold up even for today's standards, and the music is also very excellent. The way combat works is very easy to pick up but gets more complex as you get different types of ships and add more weapon types to your roster, but the movement for when you're out in space is something that even games of today can seriously take note of. It's incredibly fluid and makes navigating around the world as well as fighting enemies feel very natural. The camera also feels very smooth, and there are a variety of ways to help you navigate through space by using different commands for your ship, like grouping in a formation with other ships, or using trade lanes and gates as well as hidden portals out in the world. The game feels very interactive because you can come across random events that can happen all over. Sometimes a space station will be under attack by bandits, or maybe a trade lane will be disrupted by an artifact-seeking pirate. All those things add to the immersion and beauty of the game and really show how far ahead of its time it really was. No game is perfect though, and even Freelancer does have its flaws, though these are hardly noticeable or game-breaking. For example, sometimes the AI is pretty wacky. At times, when a formation of ships tries to go through a jump gate, one of these ships might not make it through and they might have to turn around and try again. Other times, when you're fighting an enemy, they might use the incorrect voice line. None of these are really game-breaking, but rather immersion-breaking and simply funny at times. Another somewhat disappointing part are the side missions. Though there are a lot of them, the variety is sorely lacking. There are about 5 to 6 different kinds, which seems odd considering how many random events will occur, but none of those were translated into side quests for the player to make extra cash to level up with. Things like racing other ships, which did happen in the story, escorting convoys, defending stations, which is also a very common occurrence in the game anyway, all would have made for really interesting and diverse side missions, so it's sad to see that not being the case. I also would have liked to have seen the story be expanded upon, either through an expansion or a Freelancer 2. Now Freelancer 2 was cancelled, and I know everyone is waiting for Star Citizen, but I enjoyed the world of Freelancer and would have loved to find out more about the aliens and the nomads, but I will say that there are mods out there that try to rectify that. That's about all I could really think of in terms of negative points. Both the wacky AI and the side missions are excusable since they seem more like minor criticisms rather than game-breaking glitches and bugs that plague a lot of today's games. And I can't really fault the game itself for not having an expansion or sequel. For a 20-year-old game, there really isn't much I could nitpick on. The base game is actually pretty amazing, and when you add mods that improve not only graphics but expand on every aspect of the game to it, it's a fairly astounding experience. Like any game, it does have its flaws, but those are pretty easily outshined by the sheer number of systems and mechanics that work beautifully in tandem with the environment they were created for. Freelancer will always hold a special place in my heart, and I really think it is one of the best space simulators out there to this day. If you have not given Freelancer a try and you're interested in some cool space simulation, definitely try it out. Now, as we get to the end here, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And Freelancer is a very special game. It's something that I've gone back to very many times. And like I said before, I will be looking at the mods, and I'm going to be looking into making proper videos for those. I loaded up Crossfire, and I wanted to start taking notes down to add to this video and so on and so forth, but ended up realizing that there is a lot of stuff to talk about, and specifically Crossfire is actually looking to expand the story, and I haven't gotten to that point where it does. So I will definitely make a video on that and talk a little bit about what I thought and what they did great or what it expands on, and just give you guys some details about that. So If you guys are interested in that, make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Again, I'm Arali. I do stream here on YouTube as well as Twitch every Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. I do a whole bunch of different things. We play a bunch of Pokemon games. I do Guild Wars 2. I'm going to be doing Elden Ring, a little bit of Lost Ark. We do some party games. I'm looking to be doing couch co-op streams. So we do a whole bunch of variety. And if you guys have any suggestions or comments, please let me know. I read every single comment that I get. Even if I might not reply, I do read it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.